In the last summers, I did the internship at Zomato in the software domain.
So I want to build a chatbot in Zomato app. Some use cases of, or some real life examples of abstraction and encapsulation. Stretching something which we don't know is obviously a odd situation coming up in the future. Database, operating system, and a basic about the computer network, because these are very frequently expected in the interview. And then the interviewer can come back to the areas where you are much more comfortable. That could still be a little better version. Kind of diverting the question or interview towards the areas where you are really good at is going to bring a lot more benefit. Okay, hi Vidhi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'll give a quick brief about myself and then you can go ahead telling about you, your projects and all. Okay.
Okay.
So myself, Shubham, I graduated from IIT Roorkee itself 4 years back. And then I worked in a couple of startup and MNC as a software and precisely a front-end developer. I started my journey from OYO, where I worked for almost 2.5 years on their main website, oyoterms.com, integrating some of the major features and working on the SEO side. And then I moved to an early stage startup just to get an idea about how things work at a very core level and a scratch level and with a small set of team members. And the recent experience that I hold was of ServiceNow. It's a US-based MNC into the ITSM tools, and I used to work from the Hyderabad office. So throughout all this tenure, I'd been majorly into the front-end tech stack and React being the primary one. So yeah, that's a bit about me. Would you like to give a brief intro about yourself?
Myself, VMWare. I'm a BTech fourth year student at IIT Roorkee. I'm pursuing my bachelor's in electronics and communication engineering. My area of interest lies in software engineering, data structures, and problem solving. In the last summers, I did the internship at Zomato in the software domain. There, I worked in the Android for Android development. Even their app has been recently launched, the Fitch app. I worked in that with that project.
Okay.
And yeah, I've done quite a few projects in different domains. That's the semi-autonomous robot, in which I worked on the electronics and code part of the robot, and I do programming in C++ language. But for my project, I learned the Python as well. And in the last summers for Android development, I learned Kotlin there.
Let's go a little bit into the Zomato experience, the work that you did at Zomato. So you pretty much mentioned that you were working on the front end and the technologies, right? So can you give a little more insight about the work role that you were doing, the main features, and what were the areas that you were working on there?
So like I said, it was launched in June itself. So that's like at the time I joined, the major production of the app was done. Like figure out bugs, and it was in the testing phase actually when I joined. It launched after my joining of like 25 days. And so majorly we have to debug the errors, and like I started by firstly I learned the Kotlin, because before that I didn't have any experience in the front end in the Android. So I started by learning that language, and then learning the Android Studio and features, other aspects of Android. Then like I was allotted very small task of like debugging the very small things, just like their server was searching the location after typing 4 letters. So I have to make it to 3. So that way like my manager asked me to figure out the where the code has been done.
I think you have the interview pad being shared with you, right? So you can open that and share the screen. I will ask a small DB schema for a chatbot in Zomato app. So I want to build a chatbot in Zomato app. So when I say about that part, I pretty much mean that this need to be a simple Q&A system. Okay. When I say about the simple Q&A system, that means I am right now not focusing on any ML or AI based answers. This is simple that I can work upon. So and what more it can have, and yeah, you even don't have to think about the decision tree that could be made and all. It's just suppose, let's say for a given question, there is an answer coming up. And now my whole ask here is that how the DB schema would look like.
So is the chat box will have like some predefined question, we have to choose the question?
Yes. On the choosing of the question, there will be some set of other questions coming up and so on. That means you would have seen that, okay, there is as soon as you enter the chatbot, then there is some set of questions being displayed and so on. And then if I click on one of these, then further that set of questions comes up, right? And so on. It goes that way, correct? You must have seen this flow very frequently happening for as a simple chatbot.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so let's suppose I ask you that, okay, you have to build this chatbots and you are given the backend all implementation access you have to implement at a backend level, so that you just somebody at the front end will just make an API call asking for the next set of questions or answers coming in. So how would your data DB schema would look like? You just have to tell about a schema. You don't have to go in detail how the API will be called or what functionality it will carry. Just the DB schema,
DB schema, like how we'll be storing the
DDL
our
basically.
data.
Yeah, yeah, data definition language,
Like,
like kind of, yes, what are
I'm sorry,
columns
you're
and all
not
these things will be
audible.
having. Okay,
Yes, sir. So I was saying we can use the mapping system where we can map
okay.
like this particularly this question will lead to which next question.
Hmm.
Like if I select this question, then what next question should be asked? We can map this question with whatever next question should be
Yeah,
asked,
yeah, definitely. So how the schema would look like, if I quickly ask?
and it will map to some other string which we need to like.
So I'm saying, you know
So
about the relational database?
yes, sir.
Yeah, so in the relational database, we kind of tell like, okay, what is the columns, what is the tables that we are going to define initially, right? So you can just tell me the what how many tables do you think we'll have, and okay, what is the column that it will be having? That's it. That is the schema. I mean,
In relational database, we can have the ID number and with like next question ID number. Yes.
okay. So if I quickly ask you, which one is your favorite data structure? Can you tell me which one it is?
Um, uh, it's I like the graph, although it's little difficult, but I like how it like how it solve the complex problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on the linear data structure side?
I like linked list.
Okay, linked list. Okay, so let's take an example of somewhere on the stacks and queue side. Okay, so there is one very common problem of finding whether the given set of parentheses is a valid one or not, right? That's a basic one to start with. Okay, so now it happens to be that in this problem, I don't have to look for whether it's an valid or invalid. I now have to look for the longest valid parenthesis. Okay.
Okay.
So when I mean by the longest valid parenthesis, so in case if my str, or let's say the given string is this, then my longest valid is this particular segment. Okay. So in this case, my output would be 4. You getting?
Yes.
Just need the length. I don't need the actual number. And if I talk about something like this thing, then it's complete valid. And I can say the output in this scenario would be, I think, 6. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, now you can go ahead telling like what is the approach that you are thinking of, and that way.
Yeah. So first thing that came to my mind is 6 length long, which is correct,
Yeah.
and we can have like many valid string, and it is completed after like many strings. The
Hmm.
close parentheses are there for these, so
Okay.
we have to keep track of how many uh, how many open braces are there.
Yes.
So this is what I'm thinking, how we can like maintain the track of valid string as well as what was the index of the uh, open parentheses that occurred last. So for this we can use stack,
Okay.
because whatever the next open string index we will see, we can just put that into stack. We'll have the latest open braces index in that.
Hmm. So can you can stop sharing the screen? I'll ask quickly some of the some of the CS questions. Okay. Okay. If I quickly ask about the difference between the primary and the super key, can you tell me that?
Yeah, primary keys are include all the attributes that are necessary to identify uniquely any entity, and super key can include more than, it will include the prime attributes, but it can also have the extra attributes. Like for students, the ID is enough for me to uniquely identify the student. So having the ideas is would be prime, but having the ID plus name, we can have name as well to identify the student. That would be super key.
Can you give me some like some use cases of or some real life examples of abstraction and encapsulation?
Encapsulation is basically showing the necessity functionality and hiding the implementation that is running in the background. So
Okay. Is that encapsulation or is that
just like I
abstraction?
was talking about abstraction, I'm sorry. Encapsulation is clubbing the data members and member function into one entities in an encapsulation.
Okay, in the real world example, anything that you can relate with?
We are using the app, like I'm using the calculator and I'm doing 3 into 5 and I'll get the answer, but I don't know how it get me the answer. That's the abstraction.
Yeah, I think I'm done pretty much from my side, Vidhi. You have any questions for me? Anything to ask?
um just you asked me a few things which I clearly don't have any idea, so like clearly saying that I don't know is was a good impression, or was it?
See, first of all, if we don't know, definitely stretching something which we don't know is obviously a odd situation coming up in the future or in the interview itself. But not knowing is also not a good safe point. What I usually do in that scenario is I just share the key points where I am much more clear about. Let's suppose, like, I myself was not from computer science background, okay, but I tried to do some courses, basic ones on the CS and I can say database operating system and a basic about the computer network, because these are very frequently expected in the interview. So what I did is, like, if somebody is asking about a big concept or something like this, I can say that, okay, sir, I have read about these things. This is something which I am clear. I have not much confidence on that part. It's just a way of saying I don't know, but in a much better format. And then the interviewer can come back to the areas where you are much more comfortable. That could still be a little better version. Yeah,
Yeah.
rather than saying I don't know, you can say that, okay, I am good at this aspect, I'm not much confident on that particular part. So if you have already conveyed that you're not confident, most of the time interviewer will not go in that depth, because they already know that, okay, if that particular, so see, if the company is coming like for example Qualcomm and so on, then for them the operating system knowledge would be relatively important. Okay, so if at that point you are saying you're not confident or you are not sure, that definitely it is going to deduct some marks in the interview section side. So I would say that it depends from company to company, but in the majority of the cases, the database is some of the very common areas where the question can be expected. And telling or kind of diverting the question or interview towards the areas where you are really good at is going to bring a lot more benefit. Okay, thanks a lot, Vidhi. Thanks for your time, and wish you all the best. Okay.
Thank you.